I don't really have anything to write on the whiteboard, but this feels like a whiteboard video. Why is there no Animorphs movie? I feel like we've earned one at this point. I mean, with the amount of stuff that's like remade and everything, I feel like we've earned an Animorphs movie. I mean, there was like a crappy TV show in like the late 90s, but that's all we got.
When I want you to hear me, I can direct the thought speak to you.
There's 54 books. I mean, I'm not like the biggest fan of that series. In fact, I've never read a single one. When I was a kid, I remember going to the library and kind of being freaked out by the covers. Looking at them now, they're just kind of funny. My favorite one, it's a guy turning into a cockroach and it says, Marco must make the ultimate sacrifice. It's like, what? Being a cockroach? So I don't actually know much about Animorphs, or I didn't, but this morning I learned more about Animorphs than I've ever learned. There is no Animorphs movie. I think they were supposed to make one, but they like canceled it because of creative differences or something. But the series is like older than me. Like the first one came out in 1996 and I was born in 1997. So it's older than me, which is weird. And it's like a big book series, you know, like you think about like Goosebumps has probably been around as long, if not longer. And it's got like a bunch of movies and it's got a TV show. I think there was an Animorphs TV show. Again, I never watched it, but it looks kind of scary.
I'm gonna throw up.
How come there's no movie for these guys, huh? So for people who don't know, and for me who also doesn't really know, because I just did this research, the Animorphs, it's like a group of like teenagers and they meet like an alien, like a good alien, and I think he like gives them the power to, whenever they touch an animal, they can turn into it for 2 hours. That was like specified in a bunch of different places. They can only be the animal for 2 hours or they have to turn back. I guess they get stuck like that or something. They don't turn back, but I'm sure that happens in a bunch of them because there's like 50 books. So, so that's kind of interesting. And then the main enemy is these guys called the Yeerk. Yeerk. Y-E-E. Oh, I'll write it on the whiteboard. The Yeerk. And they're little like, the Yeerk are basically these little slug things that take over your mind, I guess. So these little parasites, and they go in your ear, and you become like a mindless zombie kind of thing. And at first I was reading that, I was like, I don't understand. I don't understand how being an animal can help you fight a little slug thing. But I think that's a cool idea, though. For anyone who's played Baldur's Gate 3, that's kind of the thing, is like you start the story by like learning that you have like a little parasite in your brain, and if you don't get it out, you're going to turn into a mind flayer, a bad guy. It's kind of the same thing, you know. I wonder if Baldur's Gate took that from Animorphs. But that's a kind of cool idea for an enemy. Yeah, at first I was like, how are they like scared of these little slugs? Like, how is that going to be a compelling enemy? But apparently they like take over like really, you know, big buff aliens across the galaxy, and then it's like once you defeat a species as a little guy, then you become the giant species. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? I think the idea of Animorphs is they're trying to stop the Yeerk from taking over the Earth, and yeah, they do or they don't. I don't know. I haven't read the series, and I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't read it in 27, 28 years. You've only had 28 years, guys. Come on, figure it out. It's kind of at myself because I have no idea. I'll just keep it a mystery. I don't know. Maybe they win. Maybe the Yeerk win. Maybe they did win. Maybe we're all infected by the Yeerk. I just think the covers are funny too, because it's like, if they're trying to fight these little aliens, how is like turning into a cow gonna stop them? Or like a hawk. I guess a hawk would probably be better because you could like drop stuff on them. I don't know. I'm also confused too because another idea is like, so the way that they turn into the animals is they have to have touched that species. And I don't know if it's like an immediate thing, like you have to like if I was to turn, I don't know if they turn into plants, but if you like touch the plant, I think like you have to like turn into it right after. Or I don't know if it's just like a log. It just gets logged in your mind of like, oh, and then you can turn into a plant later. I don't know. Animorphs sounds cool, actually. Why does it sound more cool the more I talk about it? You know what I mean? Like if you touched a cat and then like later in the day you touch the dog, then like at night would you be able to turn into either? You know, I don't know. Or can you combine them? Can you be like a weird cat dog hybrid? Cat dog? How come there's not a cat dog movie? This led me down a weird rabbit hole, and I was kind of like, there's like, why is there not like a Captain Planet movie? And apparently there was going to be, and Glenn Powell was going to be Captain Planet, which is a weirdly good casting. I can see it. Captain Planet. But so that was a thing. I don't know if anyone knew about it. I didn't know about that. I thought it was fake when I was reading it. I was like, there's no way this is real. But then I was like, oh, there apparently was. People talk about the Illuminati all the time. I'm like, that's what they're doing. They're making weird Captain Planet movies and then just not telling anyone, and not fully making them. They like start making them and then they're like, whatever. Yeah, it just seems like a good idea for a movie. You get like a little group of teenagers, then they meet like a good alien, and the good alien gives them superpowers, and they can turn into animals, and that's cool. And then they have to fight these evil aliens. And then at the end of the movie, they win, probably, because that's how movies are supposed to go. Or maybe they lose. You get the bad ending. And then, yeah, that's a good movie. You could make that a movie. Why don't they make that a movie? I didn't really know what this video was, but I just wanted to talk about Animorphs. And I wanted to learn about them because, like I said, I didn't read the books and I didn't know anything about them. So hopefully you learned something about the Animorphs today. I think the good aliens are called the Andalites. I forgot to say that. The good aliens are called the Andalites, by the way. And you know, I asked my friend Alice about this. She's my Oreo consultant from my last weird whiteboard video. And she doesn't know anything about Animorphs. I thought she would, but she didn't. But she kind of brought up a good point where she said, why is there not a Warrior Cats? Why is there not a Warrior Cats movie? You know, that'd be cool too. I don't know anything about that series, but I know they're cats and they fight. Could be a cool movie. There's a movie in there. And I was seeing some discussions on Reddit about Animorphs where it's like, oh, there's so many books, you couldn't possibly make a movie. But there's like, it could be like the next Star Wars where there's like, you got like your main movies and you have all these weird spin-off movies and TV series and stuff. But then I'm kind of like, maybe it's good that there's not an Animorphs movie. Maybe it's good just as a book. I don't know. Getting that would taint the franchise to turn it into a movie. Maybe that's why there's not one. Who's to say? Not me. All right, I'm gonna go read Animorphs.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!